Welcome in, everyone, to the Fly for Fun show, May 11th, Season 2, Show 18. Captain Ray and JohnnieDroneFlyer. We got two very special guests today. Ryan Latourette, is that what us? I know I was going to mess his last name up. And Vic Moss. And, Ryan is Director of Regulatory Affairs for the Great Lakes Drone Company, and he is an attorney. And actually, he's been on Ken Herron a few times, and I reached out to Ryan, I guess probably around I think Christmas, a little bit after, and he busy through the holidays, and finally got a chance to get him on. And Vic's been on before, and of course Vic is a COO and Vice President of Drone Service Provider Alliance, and two good guys. And guys, we'll try a little something different tonight. I mean, it's going to be a kind of a Q&A, and we're going to let Ryan introduce himself in a few seconds. And well, I'll actually put the link in the chat if you want to ask them a question. They got a couple things pending, and both of these guys are a wealth of knowledge, and kind of keep us abreast on what's happening in the drone world. We'll do some part 107 questions a little bit into the show. We got two questions. Our Fly for Fun group page is up. You can post your drone related content, pictures, videos, whatever. The drone show guide is out. I'll get you a copy if you need it. And of course, the South Florida Drone Meetup is April 1st of 2023. So we're moving already toward that. I want to wish a happy birthday to Mark Fisher. I think he was like 22 yesterday. Now, yesterday was Mark's birthday, and I think Philly, Mikey has a birthday, and Marcus Crawford is on the 17th. And if I missed anybody, just put it in the chat. And guys, hashtag Fly for Fun. That'll enter you into the. We got some stickers here to give away. Got a little sticker pack, and type hashtag Fly for Fun. And even Ryan and Vic, you're welcome to do that, because we'll do that about halfway through the show. It's StreamYard generates that winner, so we'll do that. And Ray, I know you're back in New York, so how's everything? And I know you. I sent you the link to Facebook, and your Facebook got hacked. So I'm getting a lot of messages. Hey, is this the real Captain Ray or the fake Captain Ray? But this is real right here.
I tell you, Johnny. I come back here, and next thing I know, my Facebook account is hacked, and I haven't even had a chance to fly my drone yet. The weather's been bad, windy, rainy, and but I'm hoping to get out maybe tomorrow and fly. I got it right here. I got the Mavic 3 right here. It's always ready to go. So all charged up, and hopefully I'll fly tomorrow. I'll go to one of my secret spots here in New York.
Yeah, we got a great crowd in, right? If you want to,
I mean, look at this crowd, and we appreciate it, guys. Let me just say hello to everybody. 4 States, Ariel, how you doing? Chris, have Drone will fly. How you doing, Angie? Good to see you, Wayne B. I'm telling you, Steven Drones, good to see you. John Olson, Paul, how you doing? Zach Key, good to see you. One Vision Ariel, Michael Fly Zone, how you doing? And John, Flying Flynn Media, Susan Lee, good to see you. Got a great crowd. Matt Bagwell, David, how you doing? Leonard, all the way from New Jersey. And One Vision Aerial, did I say him? Yep, Jack, yep. Lake Pilot. I'm telling you, Johnny. And we got Irish, Thomas, all the way from Ireland is in. Tom, Lens Capture, how you doing? Eddie Nunez, how you doing? Scott France, good to see you. Stephen Knowles, I tell you, Johnny, I'm going up the list. I think, all right, we'll get back to the list.
Yeah, we'll get back. Welcome, everybody. I see Michael Wright, and see, of course, Marcus is in here, Greg, but we'll get, let's get Ryan in here. And Ryan, how are you doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
It is a pleasure to have you, Ryan. I know I reached out to you probably a couple months ago, and I know it was the holidays, and then I think you said you had a couple conventions or something. But yeah, I'm glad to have you in, and you're a wealth of knowledge. I mean, I've watched you. I think every time you've been on Ken, actually you're on tomorrow night. I just saw that. So, but Ryan, what's happening? And tell us a little bit about yourself before, and what is that exactly is a Great Lakes drone company?
Absolutely. So, yeah, let me first do a correction. I am not an attorney.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So that's important to know. I do work extensively with a number of different attorneys.
Oh, okay.
So we do legal strategy, but I am not an active attorney. I am part of the Great Lakes Drone Company, and the Great Lakes Drone Company is operated by Matt Quinn. We are out of Watervliet area. And that's the southwest corner of Michigan, but we're one of the larger drone companies in the Midwest region. specializing in drone light shows. So if you're familiar with all the light shows that happen at
Oh, okay.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl, etc., yeah, that's what we do. And with that, there's a lot of regulatory items that you have to be concerned about. Night waivers are still a thing for drone light shows, because you don't have strobe lighting on a drone light show drone, right?
No.
So there's a lot that goes on with that, and then just the advocacy. I am constantly advocating all over the country. Folks will give me a call to say, hey, I've got something that's going on, an ordinance is coming up. Police are harassing me for flying a drone in a place that I'm legally able to do so. And so we'll take care of that. And probably the biggest thing that's on my plate, and it has been for quite some time, is preemption. Michigan was the first state in the nation to pass a preemption law that disallowed local governments from creating or enforcing their own drone ordinances. And we need to make sure that that provision was able to be tested in a court of law, proven, and then spread across the state. And so we were successful with the first case, MCDO, which is Michigan Coalition of Drone Operators versus Genesee County, where they actually handcuffed one of our guys, put him in the squad car, confiscated his equipment, all for legally flying in a park.
Wow.
And that ended with an injunction against the county. And then we now had another county that stood up and said, oh, well, we're going to try the same thing. Well, they lost too. So
Good.
the excitement for me now is that we do have that particular case, MCDO versus Ottawa County, headed to the Court of Appeals this next year. So that's going to be exciting. And then Michigan is the first ever state to have a case go to the Michigan State Supreme Court regarding drones. That's coming up with Long Lake, Maxon versus Long Lake. So I expect that to be heard next year, and they're going through and getting amicus briefs right now.
Brian, I'm a pop Vic in here because I know
Absolutely.
y'all had both of y'all can compliment each other. Vic, welcome in. How you doing?
Howdy.
Glad to have you. And I know we've had you on before, but it's a lot happening. And Ryan, going back, what do people do? I mean, this is probably a question you get, and I know I think I typed it in the chat at Ken's, but your little town, you go out and fly, a lot, and then you go to a park somewhere, and all of a sudden there's no drones allowed. So what's the first step? Or if you're right and can fly there.
Yeah, that's the first step, is to know that you're right. And then a lot of times that's a challenge, because the state laws sometimes are not that specific. Sometimes they are so, but a great example here, we have a township that they passed an ordinance banning model aircraft back in 2001. Well, that's a very legal ordinance to have. The problem is the state of Michigan passed a preemption clause in 2016. So yeah, you can have that on your books, but you can't enforce it. That makes it a real challenge for an officer that's coming up to you, because they really think they have a legitimate ordinance that they can use against you, and you have to educate them to say that's not the case.
Yeah, it's I can see it happening. And for instance, here at my local university, they wanted me to actually do something for the football team, and I did it. But then one Saturday, it was early, and we were tailgating, and the local cop, he knew me. He said, "Mr. John," he said, "they don't want no more drones on campus." And not that, I was just it was early in the morning, nobody was around. But so, and I didn't want to. I just put my drone up and just walked away. And so. Mm-hmm. But always be, hey, those guys, they're out there doing a job, and they just may have got told, hey, no drones. They don't really know the rules. And so
be prepared.
It can be aggravating sometimes.
Yeah, you can fly Monday Night Football sometimes if you're prepared. That's an old story, though. We won't go there.
Right. I was going to say, I think, Vic, I think we've talked before on this, is that, if you aren't 100% certain, don't contest it right there.
Sure,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's not the time to do it. If you're 100% certain, still bring the drone down and have that education in a
Talk about
calm manner, right?
Yeah.
This is not the time to be conflicting. It's a time to educate. If you have a conflict, take it up with the hires up later on.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would agree. And Brian, you had a little fact sheet. Can I show that? And you want to? Is that something that we can talk about? That what you had did me?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. I think you had sent it. Let me see. I had it right here.
I know, Ryan, I had reached out to you about the Palm Beach County rule where they require permits to fly in the parks there. And you said you were going to look into it. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, I will definitely be doing that. Florida is another state that has the preemption law. And so that's when we can go to them and say, hey, wait a minute, you're preempted by state law. You got to revisit this. At the same token, if I recall that law correctly, or that ordinance correctly, it said you could not fly over. And so it's reminding them, sorry, sole jurisdiction of airspace is with the FAA. And
not that it matters in Florida, which we'll talk about.
It doesn't matter in Florida. It doesn't matter in a few states, actually.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
Ryan,
so what you're
is this?
displaying now, right, is that White House. So there was a White House communication that the Biden administration put out that they are actively changing matters for counter-UAS. And that's to allow for detection and potentially bringing down drones, which it kind of sounds frightening to most.
Yeah.
It shouldn't overall, right?
Don't panic.
Right.
Yet.
So,
I'm just kind of looking at it, and I'll actually post that link. And if guys, if you want to go over it, we'll post it, and get it.
This is actually kind of putting teeth to one of the last things Trump did with one of his executive orders. So that was kind of the point behind it. So we'll see where it goes. It might be fodder for the 2023 FAA Reauthorization Act. We'll see. But it definitely needs to be watched. It needs to be done because there are some good parts of that under supervision.
Right.
Yeah, we can't
and
just
I think
let it willy-nilly.
Probably one thing to take note is that it really grows out of the 2018 FMRA. There was a section in that was the sense of Congress. And Congress wrote that in there, and they were not so kind to drone flyers. They basically put forward, we have a feeling that things are not going correctly with the operations of drones in our airspace, and we need to crack down. And so it was a change at that point, giving the FAA that ultimatum that said, you need to shift from an educational standpoint to looking at enforcement. And I think this takes it one step further to say, all right, now we not only have enforcement in place, but we need to have more detection. We need to have tools to be able to use when there's rogue operations.
Vic, a question for you. Is the FAA more, I mean, I'm kind of new, I guess, last couple of years, but are they more pro-education now than more, I say, fine-oriented, or is it a combination of both? Or, I mean, is it always the first, I guess it depends on what you do.
Yeah, and what you do and how you act when you're caught doing it.
I got you.
You, I think, Ryan, are you Drone Pro, Ryan? I can't remember.
Drone Pro law?
No, are you Drone Pro, FAA Safety Team Drone Pro?
No, I'm not.
Okay, cool. Anyway, it was explained to me. I'm a Drone Pro, which means the joke kind of is around Colorado is you don't want to call from me. I'm Vic Moss from the FAA Safety Team. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Because that means you've been turned in. But yes, the FAA is all about education and safety. Those are their two main goals, really. They're not an enforcement agency. They can enforce you civilly. They cannot enforce you criminally. They have the DOJ for that. But it was explained to me this way by one of our local FISDO, and it's a great way to put it. It's like getting pulled over on the interstate with a cracked taillight.
Okay.
So a cop pulls you over. You have a cracked taillight. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Or yes, it just happened. I've got the part on order, whatever. So you're nice to them and you let them go. But if you're kind of a jerk about it, don't you have anything better to do? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to find everything that's wrong with your car, everything that's wrong with you. They're going to search your car and give you a hard time. So it's just be nice. The FAA wants people to be safe. He wants people to know what they're doing. And that's their main goal. It really is. We need to work on the enforcement part. I would love to see more of that. But
Right.
yeah, it's for the right reasons, not just overall stuff. But yeah, they're mostly about safety and education. That's their goal. They don't want to take drones out of the sky. They might want to take some drone operators out of the
Vic,
sky.
you wouldn't get. you wouldn't get hit with a. First of all, you're going to either get a call or a letter, or will you get both? Or you're not going to just get a fine at your door. Show up. I guess.
Let's look at Mikey from Philly Drone Life. He got what he got because he ignored the FAA. They reached out to him, and they reached out to him, and they reached out to him. Philadelphia drone people reached out to him, said, "Hey, Mikey, you really can't do that." And the FAA's like, well, how are we going to get his attention? How about $184,000 question? And so they're not going to find him that, but they tried beforehand.
Right.
So that's not their goal.
So it's all about education, mostly.
Absolutely.
And Vic, and Ryan, the trust test, was that a good step forward for the
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a point of contact. If you need to take that trust, well, not if, that is, you need to take that trust, then you've got the education. And then if you don't know about it and law enforcement comes up and they are allowed to ask for it, if you don't have it, they say, here, this is what you need to do. And it's just an educational tool. That's all it is. And it was congressionally mandated. So you can't even blame the FAA if you don't like it.
It's a good thing. The trust is a good thing.
Yeah, and you hear, I go to a lot of the newbie drone boards, and you hear a lot of concerns from them. Oh, I'm not going to be able to pass the test. No, it's not a test. It is a training. You cannot fail. So yeah, it's definitely educational, and you need that to operate. You need to understand there are bigger concerns about your drone being in the sky than just, it falls down. Yeah, there's aircraft going through there too.
Let's see. Guys, if you have a question, I put the link in the chat. I'll actually put you on if you want to ask a question. Let me see if this is a question. But jumped out of his plane. This just happened. What about this incident?
Hey, I got news for you. Something's going to happen to that cat. I'm almost positive. Do I have any inside information? No. But yeah, that guy that jumped. Well, he lost his ticket for a year. He lost his plane forever. And I doubt very seriously he's got an insurance payout on it. And if he filed a claim, there may be some insurance fraud issues going on there. So yeah, nothing didn't happen to him. Something did happen to him.
Matty, I did put the link. If somebody wants to ask these guys the questions, I'll pop you right on. Kind of a Q&A. Well, Vic, of course, there've been a couple of people do videos on that. I guess comments on that on YouTube about that guy crashing. So yeah, that was kind of strange. Parachute, the door open. So it was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, back to the trust
TJ,
real quick, if I can, just real quick. And I know Ryan probably gets this question a lot too. Do you need the trust if you're 107? The answer to that is yes and no. If all you're ever going to do is fly under 107, no, you don't need it. But if you ever want to fly under 44809, you need it. And the way you would fly under 44809 is if your buddy has a drone that's registered under the recreational exemption and you want to fly it and you have a 107, you're technically not supposed to fly that drone because you're not flying under 107 because you are not flying a 107 registered drone. And plus, if you're a 107 and you're out flying, you're an ambassador to the industry.
Sure.
And if somebody comes up to you and starts talking to you about it, you need to be educated about trust. So take it. It's free. It's easy.
I got TJ, and I think TJ, he usually has. I think this is about a homeowners association. TJ, TJ.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Ryan. I remember talking to you on the phone. How are you?
Indeed.
All right. So I had gotten a letter that I read to you. You kind of want to share with everybody what it was.
Well, yeah. So I could recap that you flew a drone in your neighborhood and received a letter.
Retrieve it.
Right.
Yep. That's what it was. He explained that letter to me.
Yeah. So you flew a drone, received a letter that the neighbor did not like it. They figured you were peering into their windows and, they were turning you in. I think one of the key pieces was we took a look at the homeowners association rules. There was no such rule for model aircraft or drones or anything whatsoever. There wasn't even such in terms of privacy. So whomever at the HOA was deciding to send that letter out probably needed to double check their ordinances to make sure that was even a legal letter to go to you. But at the same time, if you have that situation, whether you're in a homeowners association or even in just a community and you're flying around, remember that your drone more likely than not has telemetry on it, right? So you can grab those plate logs. You're able to see not only the height of where that thing is, where it is over, GPS point of view, but it'll even show you which way the camera is facing. So somebody can say, well, you're peering in my windows. No, I was definitely over your property, but the camera's pointing in the other direction. That takes away their claim to fame, really.
Ryan and Vic, this is the question there. Can a home HOA legally have in their bylaws not to fly a drone?
Yep. You can have in your bylaws that you have to wear leopard skin thong every Thursday, but that doesn't mean you have to enforce it.
You've been to my
Well,
home.
we don't want to see TJ in that, but
No,
that's okay.
I don't want to see anybody in that. But no, HOA bylaws also have bylaws that say how they create the bylaws. So as long as it's not just 3 people getting along that are power happy and put it in there, no, that has to go through the process of being put in. So yeah.
Well, I am a realtor, and sometimes at the closings, you do actually sign a homeowner's statement. Now, of course, it's probably best to read it and get it before. But so if you sign that, and I mean, I can see both sides, but
if you sign it, you're bound.
That's what I would say. That's what I didn't know.
Legal.
TJ sound,
Go ahead, TJ. Sorry.
Well, like hell, I flew my drone today and nobody came out and like, hey, you need to quit flying that drone. Like nobody said anything to me today. So.
Well,
I will say the other thing that you can do with an HOA is that be a part of the board. Be active. You can attend the meetings. You can actually get elected to the board, and when you're doing that, you have some influence over what regulations that get written.
Right. Well, TJ, keep all that in mind, and just try to follow the rules. TJ, I'm sorry, his internet.
All right.
Marcus, how you doing? Welcome in.
Doing good. I
doing, Marcus?
Howdy, Captain Ray. So I have a little question. In Idaho, we have a state law. Really, virtually every flight I've ever made with my drones in Idaho is absolutely illegal by Idaho state law. Idaho state law says anytime I look at anybody's private property, I not only have to have their permission, I have to have their written permission. Idaho state law says anytime anybody appears in my video or from my drone, whether they're in a car, walking down the street, whatever, I have to have their written permission. Now, it's never been enforced, to my knowledge.
It can.
Yeah. But I guess my question is, as a drone enthusiast, what's the first step you take it needs to be repealed. And let me back up a little bit by saying that I know why that was passed to begin with. This is a big agriculture state, and I think they were worried about people flying over dairy farms and taking videos of things like that the dairy farmer might not want you to see, right? So I think that's the genesis of how the thing began. But what do you do? Just lobby your state legislators?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it?
Get organized, definitely, and reach out to your state state folks. I'm sitting there looking up the Idaho law, but and it helps if you've got an organization. Greg Rividio has a great website up now. I think you all may have seen it. It's a wiki page for every single state, which is where I found what I'm looking for, right there at Pilot Institute. It's statute 21213. It's illegal for any person, entity, state, or agency or federal agency to use an unmanned aircraft to photograph or record an individual without the individual's written consent. Well, that's got First Amendment violation written all over it. So if you may have to have somebody volunteer to get cited for it and then fight it, or you can preemptively fight it. So yeah,
I have a question on the screen there, Vic or Ryan, both.
Action to call the cops. That's all you can do. Call the cops.
I got you.
Yep. Sorry.
One other point that I wanted to make, though, was we also have a local county regulation that is a drone harassment regulation that I totally support.
Absolutely.
You're in a public park. You don't want a kid dive bombing you with his FPV drone or whatever. So it's not always bad.
Right. Yep. Some drone laws are good. They're necessary. Go ahead,
Right.
Brian. Sorry.
And I would expand on what Vic said, that you do need to have an organization, right? You've got however many drone flyers that are right there in your community. You've got
Mhm.
however many drone flyers right there in your state. And it's getting those folks together to figure out what to do. So there are a couple different things. Here in Michigan, we got those folks together and we decided, hey, the way to pursue this was legal action. And so we did injunctions on the county. You could do the same thing and take legal action. They just did that in Texas, right? The NPPA, took on the
Yay.
Texas government for that law. But you don't have to go to that activity in terms of, chasing it in court. You could also do just, lobbying, go to your elected officials, teach them about drones. Hey, come out. We'll show you how these things operate. We'll show you what they're capable of, what they're incapable of, right? And then talk to them about the First Amendment to say, I've got a cell phone. I'm going to point it at you right now. I can do that legally.
Same thing.
Right? Same thing. I got a camera in the sky. It's no different. And once they get that understanding, then they can go, oh, yeah, I have this means to correct the law.
Ryan, or in the past,
Thank you, guys.
Have you seen it? I mean, do you get a lot more calls, a lot less calls? Is more drones getting people's hands? Is this a good thing, bad thing?
I think in the early days, and I know Vic, you've been with me there too, that you'd put a drone up and you'd have a crowd. You'd have
Right.
20, 30 people around you. What's that thing? Can you look over your shoulder? Can I fly it? How much is it? Right? You have all these
How high
questions.
will it go?
Yeah,
Yep.
how high? I think we're to a point where there's some more normalization that they look, oh, that's just a drone, or they'll point it out to their kids. Yeah, that's a drone. They know what it is. Previously it was, I don't know what that is. So it was distrust.
Right.
But I think we're to a point where now you still have a, small number of Karens that, that's spying on me, no matter what. But yeah, I think normalization.
Ryan, do you see the FPV side of this getting more? I don't say more complaints, but getting more. Those are, I'll say, a little bit noisier and draw a little bit more attention, or is it about half and half? What I guess it just depends where you're flying.
I would say Vic, do you have any? I don't know. It makes a difference.
I don't think it really doesn't make a difference. Usually, if it's FPV, it's different because you're wearing your goggles.
Sure.
And either that or there's a bunch of them together flying. So yeah, I don't think it's a big difference. Yeah, and I'm with Ryan. It's getting less and less unless I had crowds around me Monday.
Definitely. Sure. Tom, welcome in. And Tom, do you have a question? Or?
Yeah, in fact, I just had a Karen incident recently. I was in Red Rock recreational area. I got my senior pass for the national parks, loving it. Love a discount. So I happened to be in one of the areas flying my drone, and standing directly next to me was a ranger. He was watching. I had actually my smart controller plugged in so that he could watch the flight as I was flying my FPV. Well, with that, a Karen came up to me and started yelling at me about 3 feet away from me. You're not allowed to fly here. Don't you understand how you're taking away my pleasure? And I said, ma'am, let me please land my drone and then we'll definitely engage in conversation. Well, she didn't want to hear that. She just wanted to scream at me. And then the ranger next to me, the ranger next to me turned to her and said, is there something you're not getting here? I mean, he was wearing a ranger uniform. And she said, well, it's not allowed. He goes, oh, it actually is allowed. This is a recreational area. And this gentleman actually engaged me first before flying. But she then said, I want to speak to your manager. And he directed her to the local visitor center. Now, my actual point that I want to raise is how you engage people, right? Okay. And this is something that was raised a little bit earlier. Can you get into a confrontation with cops? You're 100% correct. I have a right to fly here, but come off the wrong way. And Vic, you're 100% correct. The taillight check begins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Ray, I mentioned something to you before, as a former Leo. Once you get cuffed, you're in the system.
Yeah.
You now have to fight your way out of the system, right, wrong, or otherwise. You can be 100% correct. You are now in the National Crime Information System. Okay?
Exactly.
It never goes away.
Guy in Florida going through that right now.
Oh, it's a nightmare, right? So, Ryan, to your point, associations are so damn critical. Okay? Their strength in numbers. To bring a suit against a local municipality, county, township can get rather expensive as an individual. It's a lot cheaper to do as an association, and you actually have so much more power as an association to do so.
Yep.
Okay? And engage your local township. A lot of these places could leverage drones for the benefit of the local municipality, but don't even understand it, and maybe doesn't have anybody in their organization yet that does understand it.
Right.
So these are opportunities that exist, not just for the Pro 107, but for the recreational flyer who definitely wants to get the word out there that these drones can be used in a positive manner. So definitely engage. And you know what? If you don't vote, you don't have a voice, right? And that means even at the local level.
Exactly.
So
Perfect
that's
story
all
to
I
go with
wanted
that.
to
Definitely.
bring up. Yeah.
I live in Lakewood, Colorado, and all of our parks are closed to drones. Joe Morales is another drone pro here locally. We actually, both of us run the Denver Drone Pilot Social Hour. And we went to Lakewood and said, hey, we want to fly in the parks. So we now have 3 parks opened up in Lakewood that we can just go fly in. We don't have to get permission. We don't have to have a permit or anything.
Great.
And then we can still get a permit to fly in other areas. And so that's all it takes is go and educate. And the vast majority of these really aren't even drone laws. They're laws left over from RC planes, where they didn't want RC planes in there. Propellers and gas and noise and blah, blah, blah. And so they just threw drones on top of it, like Denver. Denver still has no drones. Haven't won that fight yet. But it gets get involved at the local level.
Right.
Be that annoying drone guy at the city council meetings. It'd be amazing how well that works.
True.
And I'll add to that to say it also takes a certain type of person that's going to be the right person to contest things. In our case with Genesee County, Jason Harrison was the perfect individual to chase that because he was so knowledgeable about the laws. He was able to record everything. He kept his calm, kept his cool, and that goes a long way when you go before a judge to have things thrown out. If you're going to be a hothead, that's going to be a challenge for you to get out of that situation. So you're right. It's a matter that you need to be cognizant that you could get up into cuffs. And are you the person to do that? Are you going to be able to fight your way out of this alone?
That's definitely not the right way to go. I mean, Vic, I know you shared a little bit of story before. Can you tell us a little bit about that, if you're willing to? Or
I'm willing to. Am I willing to?
I'll tell you what, Vic. We're gonna run this first question, and then we'll let
go
you,
for it. Go for it.
Ray.
A person may not act as a crew member of a UAS if alcoholic beverages have been consumed by that person within the proceeding. A, 8 hours. B, 12 hours. C, 24 hours.
Easy question.
That's an easy one. Yeah.
It's an easy rule. And guys, type hashtag fly for fun. And I'm not sure how many people I got in. I only have 23. We got like 60 people in here. So hashtag fly for fun, and we'll give a sticker pack. And the correct answer to this, we'll check it, is
Zach Key, I think, got it.
Okay, is A. Of course, 8 hours is bottle to throttle is 8 hours. So that's a good way.
8 minutes throttle to bottle, but 8 hours bottle to throttle. So.
I have one last question, Johnny.
Absolutely.
Vic, when can I start flying in national parks? That's all I want to know. Okay.
We'll see how it goes. They've got all the footage from Monday, and they're going to process all that good stuff out. And it went really well. We had great reception from everybody who saw us fly, with one exception, and he just wanted to know when we were done so he could take a picture without our drone in the shot with his iPhone, and the drone was 600-700 feet away over by the monuments at Mesa. And it's like, dude, it's not in your phone, but yes, we'll wait.
It's not even in your shot.
So Vic,
It's
Vic,
not
is
in-
that
And
something? Is it maybe something coming? Some state parks and stuff may change, or is that? I mean, what do you-
Yeah, state parks. You know, we've got a really good thing going on in Oregon right now. If that works out, and we'll use that as a good model. But it's, each state is individual. Here in Colorado, that you say drone to them, and they just shut down.
Right.
As far as state parks, some state parks are good.
But-
National parks, I would love to see open up. Again, for those of you who don't know, I did fly in Mesa Verde National Park Monday with the production company for the park itself, and that was kind of a test case. The Department of Interior really are kind of interested to see how it goes. So shout out real quick to Skydio, who supplied an X2 drone for me to fly. Sent a couple people out since it's a blue drone. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Vic, is that a way they could possibly make some money by maybe a little
Heck
permit
yeah.
and say one day a week or something?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd pay $100 to go fly at in Moab or wherever. Here in
Yeah.
Colorado, I'd love to fly the sand dunes.
Yeah,
I'd pay $100 a
absolutely.
day to do
You know,
that.
sometimes change is very difficult, you know, when you're trying to
Yep.
make change. And
Yep.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Well,
the
thanks,
price
guys.
versus bar case
All right,
is
thank you, Tom.
a challenge for that.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So
Yeah,
I'll
all right,
share
Vic,
some
the
stills
stage
from
is yours.
Mesa Verde. Sure, absolutely. Back in January, I think it was January, we were contacted. Somebody reached a pilot in Florida, where he can't talk any names right now or locations. He is in Florida. He's talking to his lawyer tomorrow about going public. But if he's a licensed surveyor in the state of Florida. He was out testing a drone with LiDAR equipment, and he had a pre-programmed flight. He flew over a substation because that's what they were testing on. And he also happened to be flying a power line across the street that was it was near enough of a parking lot of a federal, not a detention center, but a transitional center run by ICE, unmarked on anything. And he and the ICE folks called the cops, and the cops showed up, and they handcuffed him, and they put him in the back of a car, and he was very cooperative. He said, "Hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's my flight records." And he told him what we were doing, and he still got a summons. He appeared before the judge, numerous judges, and he's been charged under Florida Revised Statute 330-.41, which is it's basically, it was put out in 2017, but it's the Unmanned Aircraft Systems Act, and it makes it illegal to fly over critical infrastructure. And obviously, we all know that the feds, the FAA in particular, is the one that has jurisdiction over the airspace. I reached, well, I'm not going to go too deep into that part, but I reached out for the FAA for help today, and they basically refused to comment or even send comments. So there's some other avenues going on. He's going to talk to his lawyer tomorrow and see if we can get some publication about this, get some support. He shut down his business for 8 months because he was scared to fly again. A buddy of his reached out to him and said, "Hey, dude, you got to get back on the horse." So he did, and he was asked to go fly an agricultural field. And we talked to him for about an hour today, Kenji and I did. And he said he went out, he flew it, he found out there's a substation on the corner of the property. He goes, "I'm not flying within 1,000 feet of that." And the whole time he was flying, he felt like he was committing a crime. And he said when he got back in his car and left, he felt like, he was running away from a bank robbery. He was expecting the cops to show up. He even called the sheriff beforehand and said, "This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm doing it. This is who I am," to say, "Contact me." So the stress involved with that is causing stress on his family. It's called a monetary stress on his family. And the state of Florida just won't listen. The FAA investigated and said, "Hey, you're not doing anything wrong." DHS, Department of Homeland Security, investigated him and said, "Hey, you're not doing anything wrong." Florida won't let go. They've got they've got something up their backside. I won't. And they're being stupid. And the FAA, I have friends in the FAA. I like the FAA, but I'm really pissed off at the FAA right now, particularly their legal department. I got an email today and said, "Yeah, we're not going to comment." We don't
Well,
comment in
he's in the
situations like
system.
that.
He's in the system now, and
He's in the system, absolutely.
Hopefully
And he said
cleared-
he's beaten
cleared.
down by the system.
yeah.
The story's
So-
going to come
so-
out
so-
one way or the other. If
Well,
it's,
so
if, you
Vic,
know,
let me.
so,
I mean,
yeah.
would it be as easy as them, the FAA, just saying, "Hey, let this go"? Or I mean,
I think it would be 100% if the judge or the prosecuting attorney got an email from an FAA.gov email address, especially if it was, you know, the signature had a FAA representative or a legal representative. Hey, you know what? We are interpreting this differently than you.
right.
We have control of the airspace. You've got the only real federal case so far was Singer versus Newton, Mass. Is sort of is some preemptive issues in there. Not the same as critical infrastructure, but if I honestly think if the FAA and the legal department, even if it's just the regional counsel for Florida, said, hey, you know what, you guys really can't do this, and this is why we think.
Sure.
They don't even have to say you can't. They say this is our interpretation. This is the case law that backs us up. This is the law that backs us up. This is the federal statute that backs us up. You know, we have control of all navigable airspace when it comes to drones. Everything is navigable airspace. And
So
one of the issues.
what do they think they
I'm
can
sorry,
get
go
from him? I mean,
4 years.
Wow.
The judge flat out told him, you're looking at 4 years. You're best to just plead guilty to a lesser charge. He's like, no. And so if Florida gets away with this, first of all, it's going to just every Florida drone pilot out there will be scared, should be scared. And then other states will jump on board.
Vic, he's using a good drone attorney, correct?
Well, that's the problem. A lot of it, he's talked, I think he said 20 different attorneys, and some of them are saying, well, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Look at the law. So the trouble is finding one. It's a fairly new, you know, you've got the aviation attorneys, but the drone aspect of it is it's a fairly new field, and nobody wants to fight the state. That's part of it too. They're afraid. They're afraid.
Yeah, that's almost, I hate to say, it's almost unbelievable.
Bob, that's kind of the point. He has a meeting with his lawyer tomorrow. He's going to talk to the lawyer and say, look, he wants to go public, but he's trying to, you know, he wants to run everything through his lawyer because he's smart.
I'm about to say, could that backfire or help? Could that backfire or help him?
That's what he's going to double check. He's going to let us know, and as soon as he does, we're going to Kenji and I are really going to push it out.
Ryan, what do you think? I mean, could that backfire or help him? I mean,
so yeah, I think going to the attorney is the right thing. You know, if I'm the attorney, I'm going to write a motion to dismiss. You know,
they already did.
I'm going to push that out.
They started out. Started out with a summary to dismiss, and it dismissed the dismissal.
Right.
Man,
this guy's upset.
And he can subpoena the FAA as witnesses.
He could. Yeah, he could.
Yeah, that's not going to go very far.
You know, it's very frustrating, not only for him, but it should be for the whole thing. Talking to him today, I was getting mad.
So
I went back upstairs. My wife was like, "What were you mad about down there?" It's like, I don't want to get into it.
the FAA, of course, is federal, but do they have? I mean, does every state have of course, an office, or I mean, like his local office there in Florida that he could get no help?
Well, yeah, FSDO. That's kind of the local, you know, Flight Standards District Office. That's kind of the local.
I got
you. The regional council. There's, help me, Ryan. 8, 7. I can't remember. There's regional councils that cover states.
Sure.
And the regional council for whatever that is in Florida, which I think is out of the Atlanta area, really should do some. Actually, the legal office, the FAA legal office, and I'm really going to piss some FAA people off, and I'm sorry.
It should be
I really like you guys. So honestly, they should say, look, you know, I'm not going to read the email I got today, but they should say, look, this is how we interpret it. You know, they don't need to say, you can't do this. Boom. Yeah, right. Johnny. Yeah, that's right, Johnny. There you go. That's it right there. But a nicely worded, let's get back to the crack taillight thing. A nicely worded letter to the right people with the right email address and the right email signature will go a long way to help the drone pilots, especially this guy in Florida. And you know what? I put this in my response to the FAA today too. It's like, you know what? You all need to help us because you're going to need our help and come September with remote ID. You're going to need us to help you push that out. And if you're not going to help us in situations like this or situations like 18 USC 32, I'm sorry, I'm on a roll here. We're not going to, well, I'm not going to say we're not, because I will, and I know Ryan will as well, help with remote ID, but you're going to need more than just people like me and Ryan and you two to help with remote ID.
Good. And Bob Casey asks, is there anything we can do as a community?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As soon as we get permission to go public, we'll go public. 100%. He's ready. He is ready to go. But we, you know, Kenji's my business partner at DSPA. You know, he's a lawyer. And he's like, okay, you know, he called me afterwards, said, calm down, Vic. And once we're out, once we're ready, we're going to push this out, and we're going to do it with sugar and spice, not with rocks and sticks.
Yeah, because CaptainRay's putting his condo up for sale now in Florida.
Get some drone shots. Get some drone shots. Make sure you fly over the substation.
I love flying down in Florida.
Vic, that's a good segue. You did mention remote ID, and I know I'll talk to you a little bit yesterday. We messaged a little bit. So how's that coming? I mean, in a recent chats, I know it was, you know, about a year ago, it was day in, day out. Now it's kind of went away, but it's coming. And you know, so how we getting prepared? I know there's a new Mini 3 and coming out. So, you know, where we sit on that. And what's the time frame?
Same place. As still those September 2022, 2023. I haven't heard anything about the RDQ. Have you, Ryan? I've been out of touch for
that's
4 or 5 days.
That's the big question mark, right?
Yep.
If they put a stay on it with the RDQ case going on,
yeah.
I don't know that they will, but I also don't know that the FAA is ready. They still haven't put out the protocols.
The big question I have is the information going to be available to the public? Or is it just law enforcement and the FAA?
I think that's the crux of the RDQ case, isn't it?
Yep.
What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't think most people disagree with the remote ID as so much as you know, the people knowing who's holding that control and where, you know.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. Law enforcement, absolutely, they need to know because they're going to get the calls and they're going to say, no, this is Ryan, this is Vic, this is y'all. It's fine, it's safe. He's not spying on you because he doesn't want his videos to suck. So it's the rogue operators and it's also another touch point where they can find somebody and say, look, you need to do this. This is what you need to do to fly safe. They're not going to be shooting things out of the sky.
Big, it's not going away. Remote ID is coming.
Nope, it ain't going away. Unless Congress says never mind. And Congress won't say never mind because the Department of Homeland Security wants it. And the Department of Homeland Security is the big gorilla in the room that get what they want.
Guys, type fly for fun, hashtag fly for fun. And I only had 25 people. We got almost 65 people. So, and we'll give away a sticker pack. And let's run this second question
right there. That's one of your stickers. I know it's really small and you can't see it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I took my background off blur so you could see my dirty office and the fly for fun sticker right there.
You got your office all straight there.
No, I don't.
All right, Ray.
Just this part of it. The rudder perform on a UAS airplane? A, the rudder controls the yaw. B, the rudder controls the bank. Or C, rudder controls the pitch.
I bet some quad flyers don't know that answer.
I know it is. I'm giving a hint.
I see who got the correct answer. You know, but it's good. You know, you learn a little something on this show too. And with you two guests, we're learning a lot tonight, and we appreciate it. Thank you again, guys, for being on.
The answer is A, to y'all, and we'll check that.
Greg Pittman, I think, got it first. So congratulations, Greg.
So, Vic, what other news we got? I mean, anything in the works or anything that we should know about coming up? I mean, I know, you know, there's some new drones. There's a lot of stuff going on. Summertime, a lot of flying. It's prime flying season, I guess. So, what else?
I'm looking forward to the Mini 3, I think. I'm going to get one because, you know, it's only, $1,300 all in. Because, you know, it'll be fun to have. And it'll be useful. I've seen some decent reviews. There's session-wise, there's not a whole lot going on. Most states are kind of closed down session-wise, aren't they, Ryan?
Yeah, there's talk in the background.
Always.
There's always going to be that. I think the big concern is that what Senator Lee is still shopping around, and you know, we're in trouble if that gets through. I don't think it will, but it's something that we need to keep our ear to the grindstone.
And keep your ears about the Reauthorization Act. Absolutely, next year. That's going to be a huge fight for the SPA, for Ryan and his crew, for AUVSI. we're really going to have to keep an eye on that and make sure none of the garbage like Lee wants to put in, and our friend down in Florida wants to put in. Oh crud, what's his name? The senator. Wow.
Ryan, are you getting the mini 3?
Will I get the mini 3? That's a question mark. I'm kind of looking at an Autel myself, so I may go that direction.
Ryan, I know we kind of skipped over. So you fly for fun all the time, you said. So tell us a little bit about what you fly and what do you like to do for fun? I know all this legal stuff and all this lobby and stuff probably gets boring a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the kind of the newest fun I'm having is with the thermals. So you get to a point where you have gone to all the different places and you're shooting iconic structures and it makes for pretty pictures. But then I go back and go, I wonder what that's going to look like in a thermal. And, so it's kind of fun to shooting thermals of the state capitol building and seeing what you can really pull out of there. I think one of my more fun things is, everybody that's got a drone, I don't care who you are, you have navigated around a water tower. I'm certain of it, right? Do that with a thermal drone and you go, holy cow, you can tell where the water
level
in the thing.
Yeah, sure.
It's very cool.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Never really thought about that, I guess. So Vic, I know you fly too, and of course, Vic, you're a photographer, and I got the link to your the link to your description in the chat there to your site, YouTube channel. And Ryan, I got the Great Lakes Drone Company there in the description. So yeah, y'all get out, make sure you subscribe to Vic's channel. Vic, you are a photographer by trade, right?
Photographer, yep. I've been doing this since 1988. I'm one of those strange people that have an art degree that doesn't say, would you like fries with your order? So yeah, that was nice, but it's true. Yeah, no, I love what I do. Drones, just the world's tallest, most versatile tripod.
So do any of you, Ryan or Vic, do you fly FPV at all? Any?
I've got the FPV, DJI FPV. I've got a couple of squirts sitting back here, a couple of 95X. I kind of blow grits without the DJI FPV, but I have fun. I'm not a great FPV flyer, but it's fun.
Vic, you're a better FPV flyer than I am because I put the goggles on and I got motion sickness. I'm done.
Yep, I gotta sit. Yep.
Ryan, what are you flying FPV, Ryan? The DJI?
No, just a little, even just a tiny whoop.
Yeah,
that's enough for me. It's like, oh, I can't have it that close and figure things out.
Yeah.
Do you wear bifocals, Ryan?
Fun.
I am supposed to, yeah.
Okay, that makes it a little harder when you wear bifocals too, but it's a lot of fun.
I love watching. I really do. I love watching the guys fly them, and it's amazing what they can do with them. It is.
Oh, it's crazy what they can do with them. Absolutely.
Yeah, to see them dive those buildings, I mean, that's pretty interesting. And of course, it's becoming more mainstream than commercials. You see it, you kind of recognize it now while you're watching TV. So
the latest they were just flying it at USFL and going right, following the ball. Just crazy stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
If you want to see some good, Kenji flew some FPV at the Orlando Convention Center during the expo. So if you want to see that in our opening of the DSPA newscast, we got some of that in there.
Vic, and tell us a little bit about your drone service provider. I know you didn't talk a lot about it, but tell us exactly.
We're very similar to what Ryan does. What we do is we try to be the national voice for the small and medium-sized drone service provider. And obviously then by default, sometimes hobbyist as well, but recreational. We work with state, local, and federal. We've talked with, just in the last couple of weeks, I think we talked with 4 different senators and their staff, I should say, about the upcoming stuff. And we work with the smaller cities and states, and we'll coach somebody. They reach out to us and say, hey, this is what's going on. How do we deal with it? And we'll have a meeting with the people involved and say, this is what you need to do at your Senate Council meeting and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at with what we're doing. But, with 260-something thousand remote pilots in this country right now, the vast majority of them 1, 2, 3, 4 person operations. they didn't have a federal voice. They didn't have a national voice
Yeah.
really until Kenji reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And after some convincing on his end, I decided yes, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah, well,
With a lot of
I gotta say,
contact.
both you guys. I mean, I reached out to you on Facebook, and of course, I mean, I've seen y'all in the chats before, but I've known people that reached out to y'all or sent you emails, and y'all very responsive. I think Ryan, John Coopy, sent you an email, and I don't know if you remember his name, but they put a little, I think, a no drone sign in his little city or something, and I think you kind of answered some questions for him. So yeah, I mean, it's great to have you guys in the community, and guys, hey, try to, like you say, don't argue with a policeman or FAA guy, even if you're right. I mean, just kind of listen and then take the stand later.
Afterwards.
Yep.
Be an ambassador.
Yeah,
ambassador. Put that ambassador hat on.
Yeah. It's a great community, and I was flying out today at the lakefront, and a lady was jogging, and man, she stopped jogging and started looking at my screen. But it could have been just the opposite. At first I thought, oh Lord, she's coming up and like I don't know, she thought was following or jogging or something. You kind of panic. It's like the guy you said in Florida. After he got through flying, he felt dirty, kind of. It was like, man, this lady was kind of running up to me, and I was like, hey, what you doing? She kind of, so she was a whole lot nicer. She wasn't a Karen, so.
Oh yeah, Bob Casey just asked a good question. Is there a link at any that we can help this guy? Yes, there will be.
Okay, yeah,
there will be once we can go public, because again, it's going to run through his lawyer, and she's going to make that decision on when. But yeah, we want to get some help out. He says he's okay, but he's not. He needs some help.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and draw for this giveaway, the sticker pack. I got 35 entries.
Good luck, everybody.
And
you have a drum roll.
Hey, if my name happens and comes up, I'll spin it again, only because I put it in there to get it going. But here we go. JSK Leonard.
Leonard, congratulations. Way to go.
We'll get that over to Leonard. Well, guys, it's been about an hour, and Ryan and Vic,
wow,
I definitely want to thank y'all. Very informative
Yeah,
show. I mean, it goes so fast. I know we talk about it, Captain Ray and I, like every week, man. It's Wednesday, and but you guys are a wealth of information. And hey, get out there, and if you got any questions, get it to Vic or Ryan. I know you're very responsible on Facebook, or Ryan. I appreciate it. So Ryan, I'll let you say your goodbyes.
Well, I thank you for having us here, and it's been entertaining as well as informative, and I appreciate all the questions.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate
you.
Thank you for being on, Ryan.
Vic?
Yeah, well, thanks. I love doing this stuff. You have any questions, Vic at DSPAlliance.org, or just DSPAlliance.org. Go to our website. We have some articles on there as well about how to do certain things, and let us know. We're here to help, just like Ryan. I mean, we're both just here to help the industry. It's not about me. It's not about Ryan. It's not about you two. It's we're here to help the industry. And let's because
I think that's the biggest thing.
It is, we all race each other. Absolutely,
it is. It's a community, and I mean it's very well. I think we just had the South Florida drone meetup, and we had over 100 pilots. So
that's
people
awesome.
I think that COVID is kind of resided a little bit or whatever, but of course it seems I think people were ready to get out, and that event was huge. And of course, Spin Up was we went to Spin Up, and I know y'all are going, there's a lot of functions happening here. And I know
we'll be in Vegas in September. Next year, AUVS Expos in Denver. Come. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
We're going to fly the Blue Bear.
Well, again, it's been a great show. Guys, thank you very much for being on. And thank you, everybody in the chat. It's always good to see you. A lot of the same old faces. But the one thing we like to promote on this show is get out there and fly for fun, and most importantly, fly safely.
Yeah, tune in, subscribe to everybody's channel. We got Coast to Coast Drones in about 30 minutes, and I think Dobo's probably having a show tonight. I didn't see anything, but I'm sure he is. Eddie Nunez was in the chat earlier. Get out there and watch those. So, I think Bill Thomas is doing some kind of 3D printing type stuff tonight. So yeah, tune in for that Coast to Coast Drones and Drone Therapy. And I'll get this sticker pack out to Leonard. I want to thank you guys again. And
sure thing.
We'll run this ending here. Thank you guys. Have a good night.